co-chair, my fellow panelists, General Narayanan, General Chauhan, and General Panwar, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Great pleasure to be joining you for this online conference. And of course, I forgot Yashav Arya, the founder and managing director of Indic Researchers Forum, which is the platform which we are speaking on. Now, I've been asked to speak on the use of artificial intelligence to disrupt India's social fabric. An extremely well-chosen topic. It is relevant and very topical, except that I think that the impact of artificial intelligence goes well beyond our social fabric. And that is what I will come to. But before that, I would just like to engage on a few issues raised by General Narayanan and I think it in General Chauhan. You see, the first point I would like to make is that this artificial intelligence is going to be so game-changing that it is going to be central to what General Narayanan envisioned. A Sudhir Bharat, a Samrit Bharat, and a Saksham Bharat. You cannot be strong without artificial intelligence. You cannot be prosperous without artificial intelligence. And you will certainly, unless you have artificial intelligence skills and empowerment, you will not be a Saksham Bharat. The other issue I wanted to raise was this, business of civil society. I get what General Narayanan was saying, but see, civil society can be very empowering. Our freedom movement came from civil society. So everybody in civil society, I quite understand what General Narayanan is saying about the NGOs and all, but there is much in civil society which should be tapped and which should be nurtured. I'll just give you one example how many of these fears cause harm to us. This issue of funding with General Narayanan. Somebody like General Narayanan, even if he's getting $10 billion of funding from USA, I will have no problem. I'm sure he will do an honest job. How can the Americans influence General Narayanan? They cannot. So the funding is really not the problem. And I'll tell you how this funding is going now to our detriment. So let's take the foreign policy and national security space. You have the ORF, which is getting a lot of funding from diverse sources. Very good. So look how well it has shaped the narratives in foreign policy. Today, foreign policy issues are debated in Delhi. Those engagements take place in Delhi. What have we started doing under this funding business? We have been starving our think tanks of funds. So the quality of ideation and debate in the national security space is rather poor. The biggest issues of national security are being debated in Shangri-La. Why should that be the case? Because we are not empowering legitimate institutions of civil society. So I get exactly what General Narayanan is saying, but I would like this to be viewed in a nuanced manner. The next issue I think was very relevant what he raised. The difference between China and us, the mistake that we made. China has also embraced the best of Western practices. It has embraced the best of Western practices in deterrence and warfighting. But it was very wise in one sense that in doing so, it never forgot the wisdom of Sun Tzu and Confucius. I think, India needs to grow as a non-Western, and there I agree with him absolutely, a non-Western civilizational democracy. The latter is our USP. China is a civilizational state, but an autocracy. Now, getting a non-Western civilizational democracy is the true challenge, because there'll be multiple viewpoints, there'll be fissures, and that will require a great deal of wisdom and vivek. Let me give you one or two examples in this regard. Vasudev Kutumbakam is a wonderful idea. One earth, one family, common futures. So that tells you how Indian civilization has been talking about getting the world together. Yet, Swami Vivekananda has been cautioning us that the world is but a gymnasium where nations come to make themselves strong. So India is informed by multiple narratives. It is just not one narrative. And we have to make sure that we tap into all those narratives to make this Sudhrid, Samrid, Saksham Bharat. And the engine for such a Bharat will, of course, be government, which will, of course, be sound instrument of force and all the other agencies of government. but also a very strong, informed, questioning civil society. So that's the point I wanted to make. Now let me get to artificial intelligence, which has got very little to do all this. I'll make a few points because I've been studying this for a while. I'll make a few assertions and I would love to be questioned during the question answers on what I'm saying. I'm saying that artificial intelligence is the most powerful disruptor in human history ever. Now that's saying a lot. Two, it is the greatest challenge that humanity has seen, existential challenge, which means there are opportunities as there are risks. And three, it will do a whole lot of things. It will create a new set of strategic haves and have-nots. It will impact the balance of power in the international system. It will change the way we live, engage, do business, operate. It will transform our informational framework, our politics, our culture, our labor markets, our social systems, our deterrence, and our war fighting. I'll just give you 2 to 3 examples. By the end of this year, it is widely assessed amongst artificial intelligence experts that it will be impossible to distinguish between what is real and what are deep fakes. It's already happening. But by the end of this year, it might become impossible. Sometime they say by 2026, it will be difficult to trust any online information. Bloomberg, they say today, 70% of its articles are written by machines. So that is going to be the impact of artificial intelligence. It is going to be far beyond civil society. It will affect nations, the international system, so on and so forth. AI is often likened to the Industrial Revolution. Now, they say from the beginning of history till the Industrial Revolution, human progress occurred in small crests and waves. But when the Industrial Revolution came, human progress became like a hockey stick, 75%. That's the time we first moved from mere subsistence to incomes, and the whole concept of, per capita incomes and so on came into being because there was income. Now, AI, they say, will be a vertical climb, 100% or more, even more game-changing than the Industrial Revolution. That is the velocity of technological change that will be unleashed by AI, which is quite unprecedented. Look at the sheer intellectual power, intellectual horsepower of AI. So they say Albert Einstein had an IQ of 160. ChatGPT-4, which we have just seen, has an IQ, it is assessed of 155. ChatGPT-6, 2 years from now, will have an IQ of 1550. By 2035, they say AI will be billion times smarter than the human mind, billion times. So there are incredible possibilities as there are monumental risks. Just as the Industrial Revolution helped us to overcome the limitations of our hands and our legs, the artificial revolution will help us to overcome any infirmities of the mind. So this is the power of AI, and it has as many positives as it has negatives. The question is this, that if we do not, with thought and manifest wisdom, unleash the positives, we may get avalanched by the negatives. It is a challenge, as I said. Negatives means it is bigger than COVID, it could be bigger than climate change. And that is the challenge that we have to grapple with. In India's case, we have to first develop capacities in AI and make sure that we unleash the positives and constrain the negatives. That is the challenge before society, before government. It is a tool of such talent that it cannot be driven by the government alone. It has to be the private sector, it has to be civil society. And I'm afraid that we are not stepping into this in terms of speed and scale as we should. Look at how decisive these questions can be. Sometimes in the 90s, President Bill Clinton visited China. And at a Beijing university, he told the Chinese, or perhaps maybe a little earlier, he said, see, the internet is coming. It is going to be so game-changing. It will free your society. You will start questioning the legitimacy of the Chinese Communist Party. And he was greeted with thunderous applause. And the Chinese Communist Party agents there took a note of this, tapped the entire power of digitization, and have created a parallel internet that the successors of Bill Clinton cannot penetrate. So this is what you can do with technologies. They picked on it, and today that is leading to what? It has grave consequences on the international order. We have two internets, we have two economies, we may have two different world orders. Artificial intelligence and its leveraging, as I said, right from, in the international realm down to domestic civil society, has similar opportunities and risks. You see, abundance of intelligence is a wonderful thing. Our brains are carbon intelligence. We are getting silicon intelligence by way of artificial intelligence. A few years down the line, quantum supremacy may bring in quantum intelligence, and that can be even more game-changing. I'm told that a normal problem which the world's fastest supercomputer solves in 10,000 years, quantum will solve in 200 seconds. It is mind-boggling if it were not true. So this is what is happening. So abundance of intelligence is a wonderful thing. Look at the games we have made. Turing test, which is the ability of a machine's ability to exhibit human behavior. There have been many Turing tests in the past. The most recent was fluency in human conversation. That has been achieved by ChatGPT. And now AI is not only demonstrating capacities in IQ, but also EQ. So analysis per emotions. Artificial intelligence can emote. It can tell you why a joke is funny. There are EQ tools and bots which provide conversations for the lonely, empathy for the unhappy. And look at, how I'll give you an example of how artificial intelligence could also emote. Humans are known for their cognitive abilities to analyze the future. So when I think of the future with a certain bit of domain expertise, two emotions come to my mind. They could be optimism, or they could be those of pessimism. Since artificial intelligence is also about intellect, intelligence, about algorithms, it could also emote in this manner in the future. And as artificial intelligence improves in quality, the emotions that it produces could be even finer. So this argument that artificial intelligence will not be able to emote is also proving to be untrue. So look at the consequences. I mean, we all know the mundane examples, but just let me make a broader point. The social fabric can be influenced, weakened, divided, even if our territorial integrity is intact. So you could have 30 divisions along the border, but you could be a divided, weakened, influenced society within. So it is not only territorial sovereignty, but how you protect yourself against all these tools of digitization, artificial intelligence, etc., which is going to become a challenge. Look at how it's going to affect society in terms of jobs. I told you the last Turing test was about fluent conversations. The next Turing test is about an AI entrepreneur. An entrepreneur who will be able to reason, plan, make an assessment of complex markets, market products, and make profits. So it will hit all kinds of jobs. It will not only hit it will hit white-collared, blue-collared. Microsoft has sacked 20,000 software engineers, and its shares have gone up by 200%. So all kinds of jobs, my jobs, everybody. And, there have been a lot of studies, but I can tell you that in one study, it said that despite an economy growing at 7%, there will be a net job decline. And if there is job decline, you can already see what's happening, in the elections where jobs are perhaps a very key issue. Look what it will do to social unrest, how it will influence the tide of elections, and add to the many Hobson choices in politics. I mean, a politician will need AI to grow the economy. He will need AI so that we grow our technologies and so many other spheres. But the moment you get AI, look at what happens to jobs. So these are the complexities of artificial intelligence which we will have to grapple with. Prospectively, artificial intelligence could be very evocative. It could increase human productivity by an order of magnitude because I can put endless figures to it. It could discover new drugs. It could cure every disease that humankind has known. It could reverse the very process of aging in concert with biotechnology, so on and so forth. So those are all the positives. Leveraged differently, however, AI could be more dangerous than nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons, the launch decision is still with humans. With AI is steadily eluding human control. We need to act fast because AI technologies are democratizing with speed. It is becoming cheaper. It is proliferating. In fact, AI codes are not so difficult to access. They are in the market. What is presently in human control is the data sets that we are training. So Mo Godath, an AI specialist, he was with Google, Microsoft and all, he puts the dilemma wonderfully. He says, you see, AI is like a child prodigy. It's a precocious child, extremely intelligent. And we humans are like parents. It is telling us, parents, tell me what to do. You want me to cure disease, alleviate poverty, make money. Tell me what, I will do that. You want me to make drones that kill? I will do that. You want me to make drones that cross-pollinate crops? I will do that. You want me to create AI-enabled cyber bots? I will do that. So the point that Indian society has to see is this, that the danger is not AI. The problem lies in the human prompt, the data sets, what kind of biases we allow to develop, how we influence choices. So the fashioning of the human prompts in various endeavors, domains of societal activity are still in human hands. But it is in fashioning these human prompts, shaping the AI landscape in civil society. That is a decision that we need to take, we need to think through. We must be careful not to step on AI quicksand. Look at pre-AI. Pre-AI, Google offered you 4 million websites. It gave you answers or responses in 103 languages. You had a world to choose from. Chat GPT gives you one smart, articulate answer. Very smart, but not necessarily true. Very few amongst us even question, where did you get that answer from? What are your sources? So Chat GPT, depending on the data sets that it has been trained on, is merely mapping what humanity averages as knowledge. So that is the danger. It could do a lot of good stuff. It could do very average stuff. The Google search engine gave you a wide range of choices to explore, research, arrive at your own version of reality. AI is narrowing your choices. And look how societal degradation is taking place. Knowledge is getting lost in information, and wisdom is getting subsumed in knowledge. What smart societies actually need is wisdom. What prosperous societies actually need is wisdom. But we are already in this trap. Artificial intelligence is going to intensify the trap further because it will package your biases, push you, if you are not careful, towards distorted reality. And here you can have external agents also coming in the manner that General Narayanan was referring to. So these are AI algorithms lean towards the majority view, not necessarily the discerning view. Now that is a big challenge. Majority decisions are not always the best decisions. Rarefied decisions are those which do not have popular acclaim, but which have critical acclaim. Now, TikTok is a good example. We know it's a social media platform driven by very powerful algorithms. Those algorithms are tweaked from Beijing, and they are being used to shape responses, surveys, and opinions that are in line with Chinese foreign policy and Chinese foreign policy interests. So sophisticated manipulation of not only societal, but foreign policy interests is also pretty much possible. So the solution is pretty simple. Use the abundance of intelligence, as I said, gifted to us by AI, carbon, silicon, and quantum intelligence to proliferate good AI, constrain bad AI, but it is easier said than done. Because the problem is that there is more money, profit, and power in bad AI than good AI. So how you create policies and instruments to incentivize good AI and constrain bad AI is actually the principal challenge before civil society. You see, developing AI for the sake of AI will be no use. As somebody said, progress for the sake of progress is the ideology of a cancer cell. So I'm not suggesting that AI is cancerous, but it could be cancerous. So this is something that we need to debate in terms of how we shape the human prompts for various AI tools in terms of data sets and the algorithms that we create. Just two more points. You see, today the problem with us about AI is what? We have seen now suddenly these risks debate proliferating in India. And who is proliferating those risks debates of AI? USA, China, which have already developed AI in their cases in a great measure. So I am making this argument while I have highlighted all the good points and the dangers of AI. This is not a time to get trapped in these debates. We are in the infancy stage of AI. We paid a great price because we got bypassed by the Industrial Revolution. We must not allow ourselves to get bypassed by the artificial intelligence revolution. So while we must be conscious of these dangers, the first thing that we need to do, even before these debates of dangers to civil society and so on, is simply do a resolute perusal or pursual of capacities in AI. The Chinese, I'm told, have something like 238 large language models. How many do we have? I don't think even one. Where are our compute capacities? And the investments for these LLMs and compute capacities will have to come from private sector, from these big corporate majors. Because if we develop capacities in AI and we leverage them in a right manner, it could be the secret sauce for our asymmetric addressal of China in many domains, from technology to the military. So those are the principal points that I wanted to make in the time allotted to me. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.